Good evening, folks. It is 6:30 and I'd like to call this meeting of council to order and say that we recognize the city of Winkler is situated on Treaty 1 land, the home of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that have been made on these territories and acknowledge that there have been many harms and mistakes in the past, but we dedicate ourselves to a future based on respect of all peoples, including Indigenous communities, in a spirit of reconciliation, collaboration, and moving forward to a harmonious and prosperous future together. Before we get to adopting the agenda, I'd like to say a couple of things. I would like to thank Steinbach Mayor Earl Funk for returning my jersey well worn and cleaned. I thank him very much for honoring his bet as quickly as he did. And we want to say to the Winkler Flyers, who are right now at the Centennial Cup at the National Championship, they've qualified for the weekend, they're playing, and literally the puck has dropped about 2 minutes ago. We want to wish them lots of luck as well. And I came in today and I found this really big thank you card from the Border Valleys grade 4 and 5 class to the city of Winkler. Thank you for all the work you do. Thank you for maintaining the pools and playgrounds and ice rinks and curling rinks and ball diamonds and soccer fields and skate park and campground. Thank you for caring for the flowers in the community, setting up Christmas lights, removing snow, and maintaining roads. Please enjoy these treats as we say thanks and begin our month of kindness. So thank you very, very much for that. Our staff enjoyed the treats greatly. We know that they did because none of them made it to this table.
I was just wondering, where's the treats ending?
They would have gone bad.
Okay, moving forward then. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular council meeting of May 14th, 2024 be adopted. Mover?
Andrew?
Second.
Marvin. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Marvin got it. Do we have any changes or additions to that agenda? Not seeing any. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting of April 23rd, 2024 be adopted. Mover?
Peter?
Second.
Going fair?
You've got them in front of you. Any questions or comments on those minutes?
Nope.
All in favor? Carried. Moving then into correspondence. We have a disappointing letter from the province with regards to their Municipal Economic Development Infrastructure Program, MEDIP. We put in an application. To our understanding, this program was massively oversubscribed, and unfortunately we were not successful in getting a grant. We also have Manitoba Good Roads Association, a nomination for urban roads, so it's kind of nice that we picked that up. Anything there that that you'd like to comment on?
Nope.
Moving then to the AMM letter, resolution number 18-2019. This was a resolution that we sent in 2019 to AMM to assist in their lobbying efforts. The AMM is suggesting now that this combines nicely with resolution number 48-2023 that does some of the same things that our request was, and they'd like to merge those two together. The resolution is there. Would anyone like me to read the therefore, or have you read it and are good with it?
It's good.
I'm good. All good.
Good with it? Continuing then into our accounts. Be it resolved that accounts payable in the amount of $1,590,267.53 as approved by the Finance Committee be approved for payment. Mover?
Andrew?
Second?
Don Friesen.
Check register is attached. You take a look at it. Any questions on that?
Not for me.
All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the minutes for the Finance Committee meeting of April 23rd, 2024 be adopted. Mover.
Andrew?
Second.
Don Friesen?
Minutes are attached. Anything that we should touch on in particular?
Some of the staffing changes are exciting, that moving people into new roles, which we believe we're setting them up for success.
It's always difficult when we have people leaving, but it's really good because it leaves opportunities for others to stretch themselves and move into new roles and get some opportunities there, to your point. Some of those are really good, and people who have served and been ready for and prepared for and are now ready for this. Anything further? All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the fire report for April 2024 be received for information. Mover?
Don Fair.
Second.
Michael?
Anything you'd like to comment on there, gentlemen?
Well, April has been, we got 22 emergency responses in April compared to 15 in 2023. So as a result, we were trending lower in the beginning of this year than last year. And now it seems that our calls are starting to even out to what we had last year. So hopefully this is a short-lived trend, and I believe this month has been also quite a few calls as well. So we thank the fire department and the safety that they provide to our communities, and we're just very fortunate to have our fire department and all our volunteers serving us.
Yep, it is very, very nice that we continue to have members of our community prepared to serve. It's nice to have a well-trained, well-equipped service, and that the businesses in our community allow their employees to respond. It's nice to see.
Yeah.
All in favor? Carried. Continuing then to bylaw number 2320-24 for 435, Roblin Boulevard East, first reading. Mover.
Peter?
Second.
Marvin?
Okay, you see it attached there. The first reading simply means that it allows us to advertise and prepare for the hearing. All in favor? Carried. Moving then into community services, be it resolved that the Discover Nature Sanctuary minutes for the March 26th, 2024 meeting be received for information. Mover?
Marvin?
Second.
Michael?
Michael got that. Minutes are there. Comments on what you see?
Well, it's nice to see the energy of that group and the work that they're doing for us at that place.
There's continues to be lots of work at that committee. It's good to see. Not seeing further comments. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the year-end financial statements and April 29th, 2024 meeting minutes for the Vet Services Board be received for information. Mover.
Michael?
Second.
Peter?
Comments?
Well, they continue to, do well considering their funding hasn't increased at the provincial level. I can't remember what year, but 80s at some point. It's been the same funding for a long time, but looking at the municipalities and communities that are part of that, I think it's a good regional partnership story there as well.
Absolutely it is. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. This next piece is a pretty exciting thing for us. We're pleased to announce today that council is supporting the local pickleball, basketball, and court sports communities by providing some city-owned land and funding up to $1.5 million, the City of Winkler contribution, for the construction of a combination 8-court pickleball / 2-court basketball facility. This is something that we've been lobbied on for some time. The need has grown exponentially quickly in our community. We have struggled to try to find space. They have struggled to try to find space. And as we've worked together, it's been good to see this come together now at the end very quickly. I would suggest the groups that have been working hard on this would say it's been a long time coming. But at the end, it was fairly quick. We had an opportunity to work together with two very motivated, interested in community development groups. We're excited to see this. We're looking forward to it. We know that this is not enough to build that facility. We know also that both of these groups will aggressively be looking for the rest of the funds to make this happen. We're pleased as council to be able to support this, and we want to wish you lots of luck and lots of success in your fundraising. And we certainly hope, as we heard from one member of this group, that the shovel will be in the ground this fall. So that is an optimistic projection, but certainly we want to encourage you and wish you well in that. Anybody at council wish to speak additionally to that?
Donnie?
I'll let them, maybe they want to speak.
And I would ask if either of the two groups would are interested in having a few comments as well. We do have a media release prepared, which we will issue. But in the meantime, if Walter or...
Well, I'll kick things off.
Please do.
It came together very quickly, but it's been 14 years. And
Exactly.
the first time I walked into the recreation office and I said, can we put some pickleball lines on the tennis courts, I got a funny look, and it took a long time to get something started, but now we have a wonderful relationship with the recreation department. And a year ago, I came here and I said, we need to do something, look to the future for pickleball. And it was a rough year because I was ready to quit a few times. But, you know, it all came together, and I just would like to thank the City of Winkler. I'd like to thank you people. And the reason that I want to say this is you have vision. You have the vision that this is something that we're going to need. This is going to, I know it's just pickleball, but a facility like this we have doctors and nurses playing. It'll help draw your professionals here. We have, you know, all kinds of other people playing here, but we can run tournaments, and we run tournaments and games, and with basketball, clinics and exhibitions. It draws people into the community. It'll give the restaurants activity, hotels, and so I just want to thank you for. I've had this vision for a while. And I don't know when all of a sudden you went to the optometrist and got glasses, but thank you. But I just want to say how much I appreciate what you've all done. I know there's a lot of people behind the scenes besides you people, but I just want to thank you on behalf of Winkler Pickleball Association and basketball too, but Walter probably has something to say. And it's going to be a lot of hard work. If I thought it was tough diggings before, this is going to be a lot harder. So I would ask that you continue to support us in any way that you can. But we very much appreciate it, and I'd yell, Yahoo Pickleball, but I know there's a lot of work to do, but thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Those comments were from John Clausen with the Winkler Pickleball Association.
All right, so yeah, on behalf of the basketball community, we are beyond thrilled. And when I say we, that's kind of loosely because it's mostly a secret so far. But once the release comes out, we will be beyond thrilled in our community. We've often talked about the need for a facility run by the community, and as thankful as we are for GVSD, and they've been an incredible partner for all of us in many ways, it is nice to have something that isn't attached to the school so that you don't need a connection to the school to be able to use a facility on a Saturday afternoon, on a Sunday night. So we're really thankful for that. And without getting too deep into hyperbole, when we build these buildings and we get these rec facilities, like, it's not an exaggeration to say it's life-changing. 1990, summer of 1990, the Winkler Kinsman and, I'm not gonna know all the history like you guys might, the Winkler Kinsman and the city built a basketball court by what is now the Mech area. And like, it's not an exaggeration to say it was life-changing for me, life-changing for a number of my peers that grew to love the game, grew to build a community, and many of you have grandchildren or nieces and nephews that are involved in basketball. I'll tell you where that was born. That was born at those courts, right, and fostered by John Clausen at Garden Valley Collegiate. So it's not an exaggeration to say the ripple effect of something like we're shooting for here is going to be felt for generation after generation. So we thank you for coming along with us on this journey and for spearheading this. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, but I think we're going to feel the residuals of this long after all of us are gone. So we're really thankful for you guys and excited for the partnership coming up.
Thank you very much. Those comments from Walter Giesbrecht connected to the Winkler basketball community. At this point, we don't know exactly where this facility is going to be. We know that we've said we're going to find some land that the city has, depending on fundraising, depending on exactly what those plans ultimately end up being. We'll encourage you to continue to work with the staff of the city of Winkler to find the best place for it and then to move forward. Don, you had some thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to publicly say, thank John for his persistence in pushing this, like my son would say, an old man sport, which is now turned into an very generational, all from all ages, which I love to see, where young and old can play together. It's just such a great, game, but it's John's vision that kind of brought this to this community, which I just want to publicly thank him for. And yeah, hopefully we can pull this thing off and get this building built.
Excellent. Today is the first day of this new road, the road that there is maybe a way forward. But as you've already alluded to, John, there's a lot of hard work ahead of your group, a lot of hard work ahead of the basketball group, and all of those that are going to walk with you. We want to say that the city of Winkler also will walk with you. We're working towards that. We're pleased to be able to support this in this way, and we're excited to see what you're going to come back with. So thank you for the work that you put in so far and encouragement for the work that's ahead. Back then to the more mundane task of this meeting. Be it resolved that Cliff Wall, Public Works and Facilities Manager, be appointed as the weed inspector for the city of Winkler for 2024. Mover?
Andrew,
Second.
Marvin?
we have to do this every year, so.
Yes, we do. So thank you for Cliff for doing that for us again. All in favor? Carried. We'll then head into our public hearings. Be it resolved that this regular meeting of council recess for the purpose of holding public hearings. Mover?
Peter?
Don got it. Peter got the second. All in favor? Carried. Public hearing then for variance number VA 2024-006 for 22 Falcon Bay. Jody, if you would help us, please.
Sure. So we have a number of public hearings tonight. So the process for participation is that I will introduce each of the public hearings, and then there will be time for people who are here who want to speak to it. If you do want to speak to it, we ask that you come up to the mic, state your name and address, and then you can address the chair, Mayor Siemens, and they will respond to your questions. The first one is variance application 2024-006. This is on behalf of applicant and owner, Roger and Darlene Dewick. Location is 22 Falcon Bay. The purpose here is to construct an accessory building in the rear yard with easy access in the R1 zone. And so the variance is to reduce the required side yard from 5 feet to 3 feet, and the rear yard from 5 feet to 3 feet as well. And our office has not received any objections to this application.
Okay, thank you, Jody. Is there anyone here wishing to speak to this? Not seeing anyone here. We haven't had anything. Jody, you mentioned nothing else has come in.
Correct.
Council, any comments?
Anything online? No?
You've got the information in front of you of the application, the supporting documents. Anything there that you would?
Nope.
Okay, be it resolved then that the public hearing for variance number VA 2024-006 be closed. Mover,
Andrew?
second.
Michael?
All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that council approve variance number VA 2024-006. Mover,
Don Friesen?
second.
Don Fair.
Comments? All in favor? And that is carried. We will then move on to variance number VA 2024-007 for 233 Royal Crescent.
Applicant for this application is Pinnacle Inc. on behalf of owners Wilhelm Harder and Tina Harder, location at 233 Royal Crescent. This is in order to rebuild a 5-unit apartment building on existing foundation in the R3 residential higher density zone. The variance is required to reduce the minimum site area from the required 9,000 square feet to 8,403 and to reduce the minimum site width from the required 75 feet to 60 feet. And this application also has had no objections in our office. And this, of course, is being rebuilt in response to a fire there. And so some things have changed since then, and with the application, we're trying to bring it into conformance, and you'll see also attached a report to council.
Thank you very much, Jody. Is there anyone here wishing to speak to this? Is there anyone here wishing to speak in opposition to this? Council, any comments?
No, as a firefighter, I was at the scene, and it was a sad loss to the community and to the owners for sure. And it's good, and I was very happy to see this plan brought forward. It is good to see rebuilding when it's possible.
Thank you, Marvin.
Is this adding one suite? Was it a fourplex before, or also 5?
No, it was 5.
It was 5, okay.
Not seeing anything further from council. Be it resolved the public hearing for variance number VA 2024-007 be closed. Mover,
Peter?
second.
Andrew?
All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that council approve variance number VA 2024-007, subject to the construction of a multi-unit dwelling of up to a maximum of 5 dwelling units. Mover,
Marvin?
Marvin got it, Michael got the second. Final comments? All in favor? And that is carried. We'll continue then to bylaw number 2316-24, excuse me, and conditional use number CU 2024-005 for a rezoning of Salem Home.
I please be excused for this one.
Peter Fraze will declare an interest as he sits on the board at Salem. Thank you very much. Mover. Oh, we're not quite there yet. My apologies, Jody. Let's do the hearing first.
Let's do that.
We wanted Pete back very quickly.
So yes, this is a combined public hearing for a rezoning as well as conditional use. The rezoning is for a number of lots listed: 116, 126, 148, 154, 164, 172, 178, 184, 200, 14th Street and 1414 Salem Crescent and 1475 Pembina Avenue. So we're doing some rezoning here from the R1 residential to institutional. And there already has been some consolidation of lots that has happened there. And then the conditional use application is on behalf of applicant and owner Salem Home at 1475 Pembina Avenue. And the request here is to allow the existing single unit dwellings on some of these lots to continue to be used as residential dwellings following the legal consolidation of the subject property, which makes the development a commercial planned unit development. And a commercial planned unit development is a development having two or more principal buildings or uses, and that is considered a conditional use under institutional in our current zoning bylaw. We have a letter received from one of the neighbors on behalf of several neighbors, and you have that attached in your supporting documents. Since that time, Salem Home has done some work to work with those neighbors, and I believe they have addressed those issues, and you will see something to that effect in your supporting documents as well. Last thing is that you have a report to council from staff, and other than the letter mentioned, we don't have any formal objections to the rezoning or to the conditional use application.
Okay, thank you, Jody. Is there anyone here wishing to speak for this project? Is there anyone here wishing to speak in opposition of this project? The concerns that were put out, those have been addressed, is what I'm hearing. Is that right? Or there is someone here wishing to speak? I'd ask for you to come to the microphone and state your name and your address, please.
Hi, I'm Lena Fair, and address is 1420 Salem Crescent. So we're just wondering about we live right beside Salem, if our house is affected with that rezoning.
We are having someone check on that right now.
We're going to quickly check on that and make sure that we get that answer for you.
Shouldn't be, right?
Should not, but we'll want to confirm that.
Yeah, 1420.
I'll ask you, yes, Stephanie, please.
So no immediate changes are proposed with this rezoning. Salem Home needs a bit more time and funding to initiate an expansion or any specific additional use on the existing property. So what makes this application a little tricky is the consolidation prompted or triggered the need to rezone. So the existing homes on 14th Street will continue to be operated and used as dwellings until such time that that they're needed for redevelopment. So you shouldn't experience or see or notice any change in your community anytime soon, because nothing's been proposed that's visible or you'll experience.
So where we're living down that street, no, we don't have to worry about it right now.
Unless you have concerns that you'd like to raise, there's no operational changes that Salem is proposing at this time.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're very welcome. But specifically to 1420, that's fine. No change. Okay?
And if I might add one thing for council, and you'll see it in the report, but this does have a condition on the conditional use that when there's expansion, that would trigger a change. And so that allows us to have a public hearing at that time again.
Okay.
So that, again, if there's a bigger change, that way neighbors can speak to any new issues that arise from that kind of expansion.
Okay.
And that's why it is one of the conditions that's recommended.
Thank you, Jody. Is there anybody else here wishing to make comment either for or in opposition?
Good evening. I'm Karen Oliveira. I'm the CEO at Salem Home. So just to clarify things, I think Stephanie already said it, but yeah, we're just going through to make it official, the rezoning. So at this moment, we don't have any plan. I mean, we have plans, but there's nothing concrete because we depend on government funding. So once we have approval for any further development, then we will by all means communicate that, and it will also not be something that we get approval today and shovels are in the ground tomorrow. So I think there is no need to worry about the timing and all that. So it's going to be a long process.
Thank you. I don't see a rush to the microphone, but I'll give people one final opportunity. Council, do any of you have comments or thoughts?
I got just one comment. I was a little disheartened when I read this letter. We value Salem Home in our community very much. We need it, but I just was, and I know the issue has been going on for a while, and I don't think it has been addressed. I think maybe it should have been, and I just, you know, I know it's been rectified now, but I just hope that the neighbors will be respected, I guess, and when there are issues that they get dealt with, because you're in a residential area, you know, and it's there, it's not going away, we know, which is good. So just, you know, that they respect the neighbors around would be.
Good comment, thank you.
Yeah.
Not seeing anything further, be it resolved that public hearing for bylaw number 2316-24 be closed. Mover?
Andrew?
Second?
Marvin?
Comments? All in favor? Be it resolved that bylaw number 2316-24 be given second reading. Mover?
Michael?
Don Fair.
Michael got the move, Don Fair got the second. Questions, comments? All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2316-24 be given third reading, subject to a development agreement. Terms and conditions of the development agreement will be in accordance with the city's report to council, which will include terms permitting the continued use of the existing single unit dwellings. Mover?
Tom Breezen.
Second.
Michael?
Any final thoughts? All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that conditional use number CU 2024-005 be approved, subject to the conditional use approval expiring upon any further expansion of Salem Home Inc., including new construction, at which point a new conditional use will be required. Mover?
Don Fair.
Second.
Marvin?
No thoughts? All in favor? That is carried. If we could, let's invite, thank you, Wendy, let's invite Pete back to join us. We will then move into conditional use number CU 2024-007 for 298 Main Street. Jody.
Yes, this conditional use application is from applicant Canadian Commercial Management on behalf of owners Family Furnishings Limited, care of Henry Entz, location 298 Main Street. The existing zoning is CC, which is Commercial Central, and the request is in order to allow large retail, and large retail is a conditional use in the CC commercial zone. And we have not received objections to this application, and you will see a report to council.
Thank you, Jody. Is there anyone here wishing to speak for this project?
I am. My name is Lee Greenwood. I'm a partner at Canadian Commercial Developments, and it's nice to be here.
Good evening, Lee.
Yeah, I hope this is fairly straightforward. I'm a real estate developer based in Ontario, but we do business across Canada. One of the tenants we work with has identified your community, Winkler, to do a new store, and we're hoping to do so in this location. My understanding was that this building was originally built for a grocery store. It's around 12,500 square feet, so it is large, but we're not changing the format of the retail, and we hope we have your support. I'm here to answer any questions that you have, and excited to be part of the community.
Thank you, Lee. Council, any questions?
The loading area for this, is there enough, like, is that any thought with this narrow public lane in the back?
To council, yeah, the loading is going to continue in its current format. We do have ownership, or we will have ownership of the parking spots out front of the building. There's about 20 privately owned parking spots. So if the lane were to ever go away, if the, I believe that's municipally owned, if that was ever not to be there, we would still be able to function and load through sort of the front of the store.
Okay. Is there anybody else here who would like to speak to or against this project? Please.
Hi, David Enns. I'm not a resident of Winkler, so shut me down if I'm beyond protocol. I have a business, though, on Main Street, just kitty corner to City Hall. That corner of Main Street and Mountain Avenue is, in one person's opinion, meaning mine, of strategic importance to this community, as is the thought about how Main Street will develop over the coming years. I kind of, whether you agree with me or not, see this as kind of Winkler's golden age, and, decisions and directions that are encouraged now, will have lasting benefits. Just like John Clausen was saying about the pickleball, bringing in a certain type of activity and vibe and lifestyle to our Main Street, I think is important to create a heart to the community and to encourage people to continue to be here. The developers, I had the it was my pleasure to talk to them at one point and so on. So there is no animosity or anything of that nature to the proposal. It's just to encourage council to think about the kind of both business vibe and urban density that we want to see in our downtown. And I'm quite familiar with the bylaw, and before Scott left us, I look forward to meeting the new director of planning when they're on board, but we'd have these conversations about, a bylaw and zoning is a pretty blunt instrument as far as encouraging certain types of business. And perhaps this city isn't to that point yet, but having some strategic areas where there's a more focused direction, whether that be through a legislated bylaw or through an incentive to bring certain things into the heart to to encourage a medium-density, walkable, pedestrian place that gets people excited and wants them to remain in the community as well. We have lovely sports facilities. We have a lot going for us. As far as a heart to the city that feels like a heart, you know, I'm old enough that when I was a kid, I moved away for a lot of years, but when I was a kid, Main Street was our Main Street, right? It felt that way. It was a bit ramshackle, but you met your neighbors and you walked it and you went from shop to shop, and it felt like a spot. And I'm not speaking directly against the proposed project because it ticks all the boxes as far as, you know, your decision is on this conditional use. But, well, I've got the floor. I just encourage us, like you guys, but everybody, to think about sort of the development of that Main Street corridor. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate that, David. Thank you. Council, any thoughts?
Henry, if I
questions?
might.
If you could, Jordan.
Excellent points, Mr. Enns. And I would like to say that, you know, the city has conducted a number of different studies over the years, and one that we have planned for this year is a infill master plan. And that would speak to some of the things like specialized areas like downtown, and perhaps look at some different architectural standards and things like that. So it is something, and your points are very valid and well made. And the city is looking at doing an infill study that would create a master plan for us to help guide these kind of decisions going forward and help to promote the kind of downtown community that you're talking about.
Thank you, Jordy.
And
I'll wait till
sorry,
you're at
if
the-
you don't
yes.
mind, one more comment.
Please.
Sometimes it's like an architect, oh man, you want to make it pretty and, you know, like pie in the sky kind of stuff. It's more about strategically what goes where, and of course a certain level of quality or excellence or whatever should be demanded in our community. But I sometimes get caught out with the architect label, like this guy wants this and this, and you know, who's he and where's he from and this and that. It's more about placing projects that are conducive to a certain density, lifestyle, and business living opportunity, and being strategic about that, whether it's with this, whether a carrot or a stick or just good conversation like we get most things done in Winkler. Okay, thanks.
I appreciate those additional thoughts, and again, also your interest in making sure that it's done right. Much appreciated. Thank you. Not seeing anybody else with comments. Does council have anything further that they would like to ask?
So if a conditional use, like in the last one, we had a condition that if things change, we'd revisit it. Is this also something that we could have a time limit on, that we revisit in 5 years type of thing?
Yeah, a conditional use application, council has some broad ability to apply conditions. There could be timeframes. You would have to keep in mind that depending on timeframes, people may or may not want to take the risk to carry on with their business plans. And so, yes, but there is that opportunity for council to do that.
I think Lee wanted to say something now.
Yes, please, Lee, if you had a response to that.
Oh, I'm sorry, that comment scared me. We make multi-million-dollar investments into projects like this when we do them. You don't know the number of dominoes we have to line up with leasing, with appraisals, with mortgage financing. And if there was a timeline associated with that in the middle of any of those commitments, it would crater all of that. I think that, yeah, the way that I believe this has worked in the past is when a use has stopped, then the council has the opportunity to revisit it, just like you are doing right now. I mean, the building was originally built for a large format retailer. Your bylaw was implemented, and when that use stopped, when it became a gym, when it became, I think, part of a church or religious facility, you were able to look at the use again and go through the test that might determine if it's suitable. Having a timeline just put on, again, would be very challenging for what we're trying to do, and sort of doesn't work within the constraints that we have. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
And just a reminder, because this is something that came up, within the last few years, in the zoning bylaw, maybe 5 years or so, that when we did a larger revision to our zoning bylaw, we made this a conditional use in the downtown area for a couple of reasons. Is some of, to what David N spoke to, like that we could speak to what type of large retail would come. Would they have a big parking lot right on Main Street? That's not really what we would want. And in fact, to some degree, it was also to look at some maximum parking, because we don't want our Main Street to just be a bunch of parking lots. So that is some of the purpose why originally we put the conditional use on large retail in that area.
So just to make sure that I understand this fully, this conditional use, should we approve it, is specific to this retailer, this project. Should that change, we need a new conditional use. Is that correct?
Well, if it changed, let's say, back to a gym.
So if it stays as a retail, then it doesn't come back to us? Only if it changes use?
So the large retail use is a conditional use in the CC downtown zone. So if that use were approved, that use would continue to be permitted until such time that it becomes non-conforming. So there's a section in our zoning bylaw that speaks to that. One example would be if the use is discontinued for 12 months or longer.
Okay.
Then the conditional use would be invalid, and then there'd be a new application. But the next potential use may be, in fact, be permitted in the downtown. So in that case, there wouldn't be a conditional use hearing.
Before you go though, Stephanie, if in fact there's a retailer there today and that retailer fails and another retailer comes in, as long as they're a retailer, the conditional use stays.
Unless council were to put conditions on the owner, or, there's lots of ways to slice it, but the use as large retail would be permitted to continue under a new ownership.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, thank you. Additional thoughts?
I think it makes some sense in my mind to limit it to this specific retailer, this specific location. That way, if for whatever reason there was failure, then we have that opportunity to revisit it then.
Similar to the comments that we heard from Mr. Ents, that it makes sense for us in our very core downtown to have an idea of what's happening.
Does Lee have any comments in those regards?
I do, and unfortunately, I'd love to lobby to say, please don't do that. When we work with retailers, we give them a use. We say, hey, you're allowed to sell X, Y, and Z. They have a product offering. They sell within those categories, but sometimes the name of the banner changes, or sometimes they sell their business, or sometimes something out of the blue happens. They get, taken over by somebody else. And if I don't have those rights, I think this will fail. It seems like a punitive way to handle the situation, given the history of the property, and given that, I think we're falling within the intent of your bylaw. We're not adding a parking field out front. We're not demolishing part of your existing streetscape. I think the intent was to stop, major projects happening where somebody bulldozes a bunch of buildings and does something you don't like. This is an existing facility that's sitting in a very good corner for for retail. I think that's a fundamental fact. Yeah, I can't stress enough how putting conditions on the conditional use would be very difficult for what we're doing. If anybody wants to ask me specific questions, please feel free to.
Okay.
Just one question. It's Jody Penner, City Manager. You are aware of the current conditions that are recommended by staff in terms of the hard surfacing of the parking lot and some modest landscaping enhancements?
Correct, and we fully agree.
Okay.
Oh, lost your audio there for a bit.
I think we've lost your audio, Lee.
Oh.
Yes, we have.
That's very odd. We could get some comments in the chat.
Oh, what happened there?
Oh,
there we
you
go.
And now you're back.
Yeah, we're in agreement with those conditions. We are planning on putting asphalt in the parking lot. We're going to provide the grading plan that's been requested by staff to make sure that drainage occurs properly. And yeah, the landscaping to enhance the streetscape is completely fine by us. We're happy to do it.
Okay, Don.
I can appreciate your comments, Lee, as conditional use would be devastating for I'm sure your deal.
It would be.
And I appreciate your comments, David. The unfortunate part of our downtown is we've kind of messed it up for this quaint downtown walkable. We got parking lots, we got big buildings, we got, the quaintness, the real homey feel is kind of gone. It's just hard to pick this one corner and say, okay, well, this one we're going to try to maintain this feel when it really fits in with all the rest. There's a bank across the way. There's a big commercial building. The whole block where the medical center is. It's all building and stuff like that. So.
I'd like just to add too, Don, is that being in the area for pretty much as long as I've lived, that used to be a co-op, one of the major grocery stores there that people flock to, and yeah, it was a part of the community that people would go to the co-op grocery store in order to do their shopping. So that part is still would be kind of historic, just in my mind. Like as far as another retail store there, it'd be kind of historic to still have a place where the local community can come meet and shop. So I think there could be some community building there, as there was across the street at what was that grocery store called?
Stop and go?
Economy Foods.
Oh, economy.
Yeah, Gladstone's, Economy Foods. Sherlock and Jansen used to be there along the street. Co-op Home Entertainment, Co-op Hardware, Barbershop, all that. But, there is still some value in my mind, is that if we have a place where community can get together, not necessarily just at the senior center, but you can meet people in a retail setting, creates community as well.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
I'd argue a little bit with you, Don, though, because all those things that are on that Main Street are vital to our community
totally.
as well, right?
But we don't have this quaint little shops, little coffee shops. That's what I mean.
And
Yeah. But no, it is
We-
all vital. 100% agree.
I mean, we have one coffee shop on it, but
Yeah. But
yes.
But
But I also don't think it's out of the question to ask some of the, and appreciate Lee's
No, yeah,
responses, because I don't want to shut a good opportunity down either, so.
Agreed.
But,
Yeah, I'm just glad it's still, keeping the building there and it's not just gonna be parking
Yeah.
lot.
but it will be very interesting to see what our infill master plan
Yeah.
comes up with and
Yep.
see where it goes from there.
Okay, any comments Pete, Marvin, Michael?
No, I think, yeah, the fact that it is an existing building, nothing is changing, it makes it a little different than if somebody was proposing something brand new, tearing it down, starting something brand new, then we'd have another look at it. I think also, I agree very much with the idea that we need to continue to work. I'm looking forward to having a strategic plan for downtown. I think that is important. But I think at the same time, if we have the plan now and to implement something, it'll be a little bit down the ways before we have something set. And then with every other plan, you have original, whatever existing spots are kind of grandfathered into an area till it changes. But then they would know, let's say if the change would be so drastic that we wouldn't want any large building in there, that would all give the people time to adjust down the line. So when we're done with this big business location, the use will change. So it gives the owners an opportunity to plan ahead as well.
Fair, good comments.
I think this corner has struggled for quite some time, and I think it's good to see that somebody's gonna step forward and make some positive changes.
And invest into it.
And invest into it.
Okay. Final thoughts? Be it resolved that the public hearing for conditional use application number CU 2024-007 be closed. Mover.
Andrew?
Peter got the move, Andrew seconded. All in favor? Be it resolved that council approve conditional use number CU 2024-007, subject to the applicant obtaining an occupancy permit, obtaining a lot grading permit and hard surfacing of the parking area, and providing a landscape plan to provide delineation between the sidewalk and parking lot. Mover.
Don Fair.
Second.
Marvin?
Any additional thoughts or questions, points?
Nope.
All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you for joining us this evening, Lee.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor, and members of council. I appreciate the help, and we look forward to working in the community. I was really impressed by all the stuff at the beginning of this meeting. The pickleball courts and the basketball and the hockey team all sound great. We'll see you soon.
And I think you'll have opportunity to support the pickleball program.
Oh, I should have put that as a condition. Missed it.
Tie them all together.
Oh, I'm not as smart as you, honey. That's why you're there and I'm not here.
I do quite like that sport, though. It's pretty cool.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Jody, conditional use number CU 2024-008 at 22147 Highway 14.
Yes, this is applicant Michelle Falk on behalf of owners Richard Falk and Michelle Falk. It's at 22147 on PTH 14. The request here is in order to continue to allow celebrations, weddings, and other similar events. And a special events facility is a conditional use in the DR zone, and that is the existing zoning. Again, no objections received to this application, and there is a report to council as well.
Thank you very much. Jody, is there anyone here wishing to speak to this? Michelle?
Hi, Michelle Falk, Sarah's Garden, 22147 Highway 14. I just want to add to what you had there, that we would like the restriction lifted for the number of LGCA permits that are taken for our property.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Is that, Jody, what this hearing is specifically to?
I think, Stephanie, this by default would remove that restriction. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone here wishing to speak in opposition to this? Please.
I'm Sheldon Weeb. I live
live next door, I'm at 22157. I'm not in objection to this facility, I'm in objection to the noise. When it became a request and got rezoned at that time from a greenhouse, the noise was to be, we were gonna shut down. Those were promises, you know, at certain time frames, everything else. Joy and laughter and all of that is great. Hearing the music during the day is sweet. But at night, that bass, I love country, I don't know if it's country or whatever's playing, but that bass goes through my back. I got entertaining people. They're trying to go to sleep, and it's boom, boom. You've all been down that street. That car has 20 cars there, and that one car, over your stereo, you can hear it. Pickup ball courts in Vancouver are being closed, outdoor ones, because of noise. My daughter's wedding was in a place just like that. It got closed because of noise. I don't know how to control the noise. I've called the police, and the police said, Sheldon, can you live with it? I tried. But the next time that happens and he says that, I'm going to have a tailgate party in his yard, and I'm going to let that speaker go. Don't stop me. I want to hear joy and laughter, but I just want that noise not to be, your bylaw says, in noise. And I'm sure you know it, but none of your people are available after those hours. I have to phone and I get branded. They don't even know where it is. Any sound or noise with such volume to enable it to be heard at a distance of 100 feet, including musical instruments, is not allowed. 100 feet. I live 500 feet. The, engine retarders, that's part of it too. They go bounce them by. But shall use loud or obscene words. That goes over the speakers too sometimes. Not at their control, but it's things that we can say and ask of the people. I know when we were at our wedding, we did 2 of them out there. We were shutting down at a certain time. We had noise restriction limits, and we were out and we were packed because there's another group coming in. I'm just asking, how do we control the noise? That's all I'm asking. Otherwise, I want to see the joy, the traffic. I love it. So that's just my opinion on my voice.
So your question specifically, is there a time to the noise concern?
Well, then originally, I thought it was 10 o'clock, but it's not even the noise, it's the bass, and I don't know how you control that. I don't. I go to the concerts in the park too, and you can hear that a mile away. Like, there is a way to control it, and I don't know how it's done, but I'm just asking that. I don't know what it is. Someone has to walk there and say, turn it down. That's all I'm asking. It's just control the noise, the bass.
Thank you. Jody, the noise bylaw specifically has a time to it, is that correct?
It does.
And that time is 10 p.m. or is it 11?
It's 11.
Okay, I thought it was 11.
Yep.
It says in this report, though, that there was they do not have records of noise complaints at this location.
Yeah, it may be that no official complaint was registered.
Okay.
But that was from our staff checking with the police department for any files that have been opened.
Michelle, is there anything that you can speak to with regard to the noise? Or are there some mitigating factors that could be put in to work towards that? Are you able to speak to that?
During the 2 years of COVID, I believe the latest event went till about 9 p.m. Last year was our first year post-COVID. We had 3 events that went later. Music shuts down at 11:30. I request no thumping bass. I live next door. I live closer than Mr. Weeb does. It's not troublesome. There was one instance when the noise was overwhelming, and I actually I sent a message to his wife as well as to other neighbors to explain it wasn't coming from my venue, although there was a wedding happening in my venue during that time. It actually was our neighbors to the east. It was vulgar and it was very loud, and
Okay.
It was disturbing to the wedding that was happening. Yeah, all I can say is in the last year, we've only had, I believe, 3 events that went till 11:30, and I would say none of them were excessive.
So
I've also never heard a complaint from the neighbor. Thank you, or any other neighbors.
I'll ask you before
Sure.
we go, knowing that 11 o'clock at the noise bylaw has some requirements, is that something that you can deal with?
Music can be shut off at 11, that's no problem for me.
Okay. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You bet. Not for this year, I've already got contracts signed where it says it goes till 11:30, but for ongoing.
Certainly at that time, those contracts signed for 11:30 will need to make sure that the volume is reasonable at 11.
It goes down at 11, that's by my request.
Okay.
And it's off at 11:30, and they have to have the premises vacated at midnight. Those are my rules. In addition, Mr. Weeb signed something a few years ago saying we could have events till midnight. Got it here. I'm doing a lot less events than what he even signed, that what any of my neighbors signed. I had suggested at the time 6 events till midnight in the spring, another 6 events in the fall till midnight. And we do an average of 3 that actually go till 11:30.
Okay.
So what I have signed from my neighbors has been adhered to. And in fact, I've lowered my number to maximum capacity of 150.
Okay.
Just because I like that. Even though I'm permitted, I have a 300 occupancy permit.
Okay.
And I limit it to half, just because that's what I like to manage. It just keeps everything quieter and nicer. And sorry, I'm so nervous.
Okay. No problem at all.
I actually have it on my website when people are wondering if this is the right venue for them to book for their wedding, that they need to consider that it is not a party place. It is not a place where we have excessive liquor. If they're looking for a wedding with excessive liquor or excessive noise, it's right on my website that this is not the venue for you. There's many other venues locally. They can go there. I would say probably 90% of my weddings for this coming year are not taking a liquor permit, and probably half of them are not even having a dance.
Okay.
So that's because of what I make them do. And it's the kind of events that I encourage. I don't want parties at my place. I'm quite disturbed that I have a neighbor who I didn't know was remotely upset. I've never heard from him before. The one time when I mentioned to his wife, she said we never even heard it. So I'm shocked that he's saying he's hearing excessive noise when there's only been so few events that have gone to the time limit that he's saying. I don't believe it's correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments from council, questions? Is there anyone else here wishing to speak either for or against? I don't see any. I would encourage neighbors to speak to neighbors, firstly directly, because I think that's always very important, and it almost sounds like, and certainly if we weren't there, it almost sounds like it may have been somebody else who had an event that specifically was the one that frustrated you, Mr. Weeb. But I would say as well, if the noise bylaw says 11 o'clock, we want to adhere to that. That's important, and that I hear you turning down the music at 11 already. Thank you, that's appreciated.
I have right from the start.
Thank you. No further comments from council at this point? No further comments from anybody in the gallery? Be it resolved that the public hearing for conditional use number CU 2024-008 be closed. Mover?
Andrew?
Second.
Don Friesen?
All in favor? Be it resolved that council approve conditional use number CU 2024-008. Mover?
Peter? Oh, sorry, Michael.
Peter got the move, Michael got the second. Any further comments or thoughts? All in favor? And that is carried. Be it resolved that public hearings be adjourned and regular council reconvene. Mover.
John Fair?
Second.
Michael?
All in favor? We will then move to questions from the media or public relevant to this meeting of council. Not seeing anyone here. Wendy, anybody online? Not seeing anything there. Be it resolved that this regular meeting of council be adjourned. Mover.
Tom Friesen?
Second.
Marvin?
Marvin got it just barely.
Good.
All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, folks.